Hello, I'm Jim Manning. I've been a Kennedy researcher for over 50 years. I'm the author of Patriotism, Unhinged, available worldwide through online retailers. In 1961, I enlisted in the Marine Corps. After serving 2 years in the infantry, I was assigned to Washington, D.C., to Headquarters Marine Corps with the job of a security guard in the file section. And on occasion, we had to work an overnight shift, which would be from 5 in the afternoon till 7 in the next morning. And so the guy that I was replacing worked with me for about a week, and then he was discharged. So he said he goes down to a certain room that's in the very large room where all the file cabinets are. He says, and in that room is all the record books of all the illustrious Marine heroes, guys who have won Congressional Medals of Honor and have bases named after them, just, the top of the Marine Corps. At any rate, so I did that a few times, I think maybe 7 or 8 times while I was stationed there. And one of the nights that I went down there, I was fingering through the file cabinets. I saw what appeared to be an empty file because the files are usually 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick. I pulled out the file to discard it. And when I did, I looked at the name on the top of it, and it said Oswald Lee Harvey. And I think my heart skipped a beat, because what would he be doing in that section, and why would it be empty? I opened it up, and it wasn't empty. It had about 4 or 5 pieces of paper, and right on top was his DD-214. Now, people that aren't military connected don't understand a DD-214. It's a paper, one piece of paper that they give you the day you leave your active duty service. It's used to get benefits from the Veterans Administration, like going to school on the GI Bill or buying a home on a GI Bill. You need that paper to substantiate your time. I saw that, and I was reading it, and when I got down to, I believe it's section 26, I couldn't believe what I saw. Section 26 is the area that they put in commendations, ribbons, badges, accomplishments that you made, good conduct medals. Anyway, and in the Marine Corps, they put your rifle qualification in that section. Now, in the Marines, there are 3 qualifications. The least qualified, but still makes it, is marksman. The second is sharpshooter, which is what I was classified as. And the top is expert. Now, what you wouldn't know if you weren't a Marine and you hadn't been to Parris Island was that for at least 2 weeks before you go to the range to qualify, as you're learning other military subjects, you're sitting on the floor of the squad bay, and you've got the rifle in your hands, and the sling is wrapped around your arm in such a way that you hold it there for 15 minutes. Then you must release it, because you start to lose feeling in your arm, in your hand. And then they put it back on again and release it and so forth. So you're doing that for 2-3 hours a day every time you're in the squad bay in a class. That goes on for 2 weeks. Then you go to the range. And as I remember it, you got the rifle on and the sling on while they're teaching you about the weapons, but not firing them. And then finally you start to fire. And when you do that, the drill instructors can see the way it works. You shoot down at the target. The target is very large where it's at, and they pulled the target down, and they put a little disc about 5 inches circle. They put that on the spot where the bullet went, and they bring it back up again so you can see it, the drill instructor can see it, and you see, well, you're hitting to the left of the main target or to the right, and then they know what to tell you to get it back in right on the target. They watch you, and they might see that you're snapping your finger more than just slowly pulling it. That would pull you to probably to the right if you're right-handed, or left if you're left-handed. You may not be breathing properly. So they explain all this to you. They're down there with you. Breathing is very important because you want to take a breath, leave it out halfway, hold it, and it keeps your body from moving. Anyway, all these little things that you learn are very important to being able to shoot. Now, it's important to know that the drill instructors are highly rated on the percentage of people that qualify with the rifle. In other words, in a company of 100 people, I think is what we had, I think there were 2 that didn't qualify. They really, really, really try hard to get everybody to qualify. It's on their record. Why is it important? Well, in the Marine Corps, at the time I was in, and probably now too, if you are unqualified, you will not be in the infantry. Because why would a Marine want to be in a foxhole next to another Marine that can't shoot? Doesn't make any sense. You will be in the Marine Corps, but you may be in the motor pool. They might put you in the kitchen. And quite a few of them are sent to the air wing, like the one in Atsugi, Japan, that Oswald was sent to. That would be another confirmation that he didn't, of course, qualify. On that DD-214 that I saw, it showed UNQ. Now, they don't put unqualified. They put UNQ because when you're moving around in the rest of your life, people don't want to see you were unqualified for something and ask you, why were you unqualified? So they changed it to UNQ. And I was amazed because I knew at that moment that if he had never qualified with a rifle, he could never have made that shot. I live in Norfolk, Virginia, and Virginia Beach, in fact, probably about 5 miles from my home, was the home of Carlos Hathcock. Now, Carlos Hathcock was the best and probably in the history of the Marine Corps and probably in the history of all military services, the best sniper. In Vietnam, I think he had 162 confirmed kills and over 300 unconfirmed kills. When he got out, he came to Virginia Beach. He wasn't a friend of mine, but he was an acquaintance, and I met with him several times to discuss the ability of Oswald based on what I had. And he said that there's no way in the world that he could make that shot. 3 shots, he couldn't do it. It's a bedtime story. It's a bedtime story. I knew what I saw, but I also knew that the word from him would be really good. So getting back to what I saw that day, I was tortured over what I should do about it. Should I tell anybody? I think that I was more afraid that I might get in trouble. I didn't do anything about it. But then Mark Lane put in a book that he had talked to this file section that I worked in, and that the lieutenant colonel that was there when I was there was the same lieutenant colonel that was there whenever Mark Lane talked to him. And he said, well, what kind of a shot was Oswald? And his answer was, well, he was rather a poor shot. He didn't say he was unqualified, didn't say he was qualified. He just said he was rather a poor shot. I waited and waited, and then in 1968, the first and only indictment was ever brought in the assassination in New Orleans by the district attorney, Jim Garrison. So I thought, maybe he's the guy I should tell about this. After a couple of days of thinking about it, I called him, and I had to go through quite a few, I would say at least 4 assistants. They all wanted to know why I wanted to talk to him. I told every one of them that I had some information that might be important to his case, and that for security reasons, I only want to speak to him. Finally, he got on the phone, and he was the most refined Southern gentleman that I've ever talked to. We kibitzed a little bit about it. I was out of the Marines by then. I told him I was going to Old Dominion College, and I was in a study group on the assassination, and that Mark Lane had been there, and that I would have liked to invite him to come at his convenience and speak at the university. He accepted that and said, when the trial's over, give me a call and I'll make the arrangements. Then I said, well, the reason I called you was that I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. And he stopped me abruptly. He said, wait a minute, don't say any more. I'm sorry to have to admit that we believe that our lines have been compromised. He said, and we have people working on it right now. In fact, there's a guy in the office right now here. He says, and they tell me it'll be about 10 days before they can assure us that they're clean. I'm going to ask you to call me back in, say, 2 weeks. He said, and I will be waiting patiently to hear what you have to say. In 3 days, the local newspaper, the Virginian Pilot, ran a story, a short story. They had a picture of Mr. Garrison, and under it about 9-10 inches of copy that mentioned my name twice, and that we had spoken, that I invited him to speak at Old Dominion, and that, you know, he was coming, and one thing and another. And I was a little upset about it because back then, and only people that were involved in it know, the people were dropping like flies. If anybody had anything that went against the Warren report, you know, they were in an accident. They killed themselves, this, that, the next thing. There's a book written by somebody that says there were 165 connected murders to the assassination. And they go down the list and tell you all about all of them. 4 days after that story appeared in the paper, a person threatened my life. He looks at me and he says, if you know what's good for you, you'll leave that Kennedy thing alone.